Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. We got a live show for everyone today. But let's be honest, the biggest news in Cleveland right now is not about the practice squad. It's not about some trade targets. No, it's actually about the team across the street from First Energy Stadium, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about this because I have a good reason for it too. But the Cavs have pulled off a trade not many people saw coming whatsoever. Donovan Mitchell goes from Salt Lake City to the Guardian City. Wow. I mean, this was a trade that has been widely discussed here at Chat Sports, linking Salt Lake and New York City. Producer Patrick Seaman has been on the ones and twos for all of these Knicks, basically celebration parties of like, hey, let's help find out where we can put Donovan Mitchell up while he looks for an apartment in Manhattan. Instead, he ends up in Cleveland. No one saw it coming. But here's my Browns spin on this, because I'm a Browns guy, not a huge Cavs fan. Didn't grow up a Cavs fan. But I think there is something to, just the energy, right, of the city. First off, you got the Guardians in first right now in the AL Central. You got the Cavs all of a sudden coming off a season last year where injuries derailed what was a promising start. They're going to be back and better than ever right now. And then, let's not forget about the Brownies, who might be the best of all three teams right now. There's going to be an energy in Cleveland. And this is just going to amplify that across all teams. Patrick.
Petey, I will say this. Great point. Winning is contagious in cities.
Yes.
When Brady went down to Tampa Bay, what happened?
The Lightning.
The Rays made the World Series.
There's something about it, you know? I know this isn't Browns news, but who gives a damn? This is huge news. And you better believe this is just going to put more than just a heartbeat into the city, right? This is an absolute jolt of energy and confidence that this is a city that can pull off another championship for the Cavs, and hopefully that can follow suit to the Browns, because I'd love to see the Browns win a Super Bowl. I mean, an office debate we had here, for example, and Patrick, you can chime in too. If the Cleveland Browns win a Super Bowl, will Deshaun Watson be a bigger figure in Cleveland than LeBron James? Football's king. You know, NFL can do that. It's crazy to think. What do you guys think? If the Browns win a Super Bowl, is Deshaun Watson's legacy in Cleveland bigger than LeBron James's? It sounds asinine to say.
If he put together like 3 or 4 really good years and then he capped it off with a Super Bowl victory, football is king. But I don't know about LeBron's level.
Cheers, guys.
Because LeBron's like king of Cleveland.
I know. But that's the difference of football. I don't know if you guys saw this, for example, but the Steelers-Lions Week 3 preseason game had better ratings than the NBA Finals. That's football. That's the difference, right? That's the Roger Goodell difference right there of the NFL is king. So I know it sounds dumb, but just think about this. The Cleveland Browns hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. You're telling me in that moment, people are going to go, yeah, but LeBron, dude. No, and that's football right there. That is football. So a couple quick housekeeping notes here. You might have noticed no polo. There's no polo today. We're breaking, I don't know how long of a streak we have here at the channel. Petey's Polos retired for today's live show. My uncle mailed me the Jim Brown jersey he had in his closet that I have been asking for quite some time. And you know what? Literally saw him last weekend or 2 weekends ago at my cousin's wedding. Let him know, like, oh, Browns Report, we're well over 10,000 subscribers. And he went, you know what? How about I'll finally mail that Jim Brown jersey I've had just collecting dust in my closet for you. So I'm loving my new jersey. This is not the jersey that I promised or hinted at, by the way. Got my own separate jersey coming pretty soon. That one I'm excited for. I just love jerseys. Now, let's get some engagement going here on the show. Yeah, shout out to Jim, says Angela P. Jim Peterson, this one's for you. Let me know where you are watching from. Ryan is out in New Jersey right now. Shout out your city. Let me know. Josh, that jersey is legit nice. I appreciate that. It's a throwback. It's almost like a hockey jersey. You know what I mean? It goes all the way down to your wrists. It's a hockey football combo in a way. But it's an oldie, but a goodie. All right, let's see. Scott's in Alberta, Canada. And we got Fletcher, and he's not sure. Either Memphis or Austin. He needs some help. Matthew Hancock is out in England. Cheers to you. Scott's in Lethbridge. Hope I pronounced that correctly. North of the border. We got some more shout-outs coming here. Tristan, look at the Ohio State Buckeyes. Get ready for Notre Dame, Ohio State. What do you got? That's going to be a fun one. Mac, loving the jersey. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. Soul Train's in Orlando. Paul is in Nashville. Ray's checking in for us from Peoria, Arizona. I missed it. Where was Mike Dibble, the Super Chat king of Chat Sports? We missed Mike Dibble. We'll get it back. Shaylin's in. She's not sure. Atlanta or Dallas? We got to get Christopher Columbus over there to figure it out. All right. Mike's in Marysville. So now we got it going here. Okay. Here we go. We got someone in Ohio, Canton, Ohio. But speaking of just the weekend of sports, you know what I mean? Bigger than just the Browns right now. I mean, Donovan Mitchell coming to Cleveland. That's insane. That is incredible. That is awesome. Who's your college team? Because I was originally wearing my Tennessee Vols jersey this morning. Went to UT, the real UT, not the phonies down here in Texas. There wouldn't be a Texas if there wasn't a University of Tennessee or just the state even. So who is your college team? Buckeyes. I'm expecting to see a lot of Bucks in the comments for sure. Big game against Notre Dame. They're big favorites too. 17 points? I mean, we're going to tell you about our sportsbook partner, who you got to get going with too, because they got a great deal. But 17 points for Ohio State. Here's the thing. Week 1 always does this, where you think you kind of have this mindset of like pro football. Week 1, you go, there's no way they can cover 17 points. And then you get reminded the gap in college can be huge. And I think I'm going to take Ohio State minus 17. I mean, it sounds dumb right now, sort of, but then it's 24-3 at half, and you're like, I'm sitting pretty.
It's the second team in the country versus the 5th team, and it's a 17-point spread. Is that speaking to how good Ohio State could be this year?
Yeah, Ohio State's going to be on a different level. They really will be. So let's get some shout-outs here. Angela's repping her Terps for the Maryland Terrapins. Terrapins? What did I say? Terps? The Brown Tiger, Clemson. I was wondering how that worked out. There we go. You ask enough questions, you get to know the audience. Seen a lot of the Ohio State. Dave is on for the USC Trojans. Paul, Penn State. Big game tonight against the Boilermakers. I think Purdue pulls off an upset, actually. So Purdue's good for one of these games every year. It's usually not in September, though. It's almost always in October, right? What if they decide to come out this year, peak week 1, and then down? But they unfortunately stole a win from my Vols in the Music City Bowl last year, so they're kind of coming off a nice high here. All right, while I've got my Jim Brown jersey on here, I want to throw this question your way. What was your first Browns jersey? Let me see who you were repping the first time ever down in the comments section. I'll be giving some shout-outs as always while we let the audience build up a little bit because we got a lot of stuff to get to. And hey, by the way, if you want to donate to the show, a super chat goes a long way. A cheers to you. We'll get some office shots going. If we get some big kahunas, some big super chat ballers going here. What does this allow us to do? Literally today, you might actually even hear it. The sledgehammer behind this wall right now. Because it's almost like the scene in Horrible Bosses where the Kevin Spacey, instead of giving the promotion to what's his face, he just knocks down the wall himself. It's kind of like that. I tell you all this because we're expanding here at Chat Sports. We're bringing on new people. We got Matthew right here, Matthew McConaughey. Well, McCullough, but McConaughey's close enough. He took a class with Matthew McConaughey, so that's the nickname we got here. But all these super chats allow us to grow here at Chat Sports. All right, Paul's first jersey was a Jim Brown. Awesome. Love it. Who better than Deshaun Watson? Yeah, the Brown Tiger, if you are a Clemson and Browns fan, this is this is heaven right here. You don't get that very often. The crossover of pro and college, very delicate, very rare, but so special when it happens. A game-worn Joe Thomas jersey. I love that from Cardiac Dogs podcast. Art Johnson going with Leroy Kelly, an oldie but a goodie. Josh has his number 19 Bernie Kosar jersey. I love it. And a Brady Quinn. Mike Dibble, Nick Chubb. That's a great one right there. That's going to be a jersey that no matter what happens for the rest of his career, meaning like he goes somewhere else, the NFL can be fluid, that jersey's never going to age poorly. All right, I want to ask this question here because we are growing here at Chat Sports, which means we have some competitive channels. You might know we have a Ravens channel, we have a Steelers channel. There'll be a Bengals channel when there's Bengals fans showing up in December, okay? But for now, which team do you hate the most? The Ravens, the Bengals, or my personal favorite, F Pitt for fuck the Steelers. I got a little passionate there. I'm sorry. Every time I do this, I get a slack from my boss. It's just a question of whether or not Brett's watching. So hopefully he's not watching right now. Yeah, F Pitt, F Baltimore. Ryan, hard to pick. There is a secret door number 4. Just type in A for all the above, right? Yeah, put D down there for all the above because we all know when in doubt in a test, if you didn't know the answer and all the above was there, that was tempting.
Who would be your most hated NFL team outside of the division?
Outside of the division?
Outside of the AFC North.
I don't like the Packers. I think their jerseys are ugly. And I don't like how it's still like the mesh see-through jerseys. Like, what are we doing here? But I think it kind of rotates. I don't like the Raiders, honestly. These things just stem from really 2 things. Beating, like, this is just true for all NFL fans. Beating your team, or the team you hate cost you money because they were the last leg of a parlay and didn't carry out when they were big money line favorites. That's enough for me to hate you. If you ruin my 4-leg parlay, 5-leg parlay, you're going to be on my naughty list here. Ray, let's get it going. That's what I'm talking about, Ray. Let's get this going. Indeed, we got our first super chat of the show. Ray, I think you and Mike Dibble are neck and neck right now for super chat MVPs here at the Cleveland Browns Report. I literally always appreciate your donations to the show because it means so much to us here. All right. We've already been going for like 15 minutes, and we got to dive into some we got a jam-packed show still, okay? It's not only about Donovan Mitchell. That's exciting, though. If you're a Cavs fan, put 45 down in the comments section because Cleveland, one of the best guard duos in the league right now. Garland and Mitchell, who's slowing it down? The defensive side of things might not be ideal at D-Mitch, but it's the NBA. It's all about scoring anyway. No team is winning an NBA championship scoring 83 points anymore. All right. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, if you haven't already. We are just under 40 subs away from 11,000. That would be a huge milestone to hit before week 1, but at the very latest, week 1. Let's get this done, guys. Come on. If you haven't already, subscribe down below. Now, we also have a mailbag later on in today's show. That's what makes Chat Sports so great, and in my opinion, so unique and different from the rest. An opportunity for you guys to be involved. Get on screen. Let your voice be heard. So use hashtag Browns or Super Chat. Now, I do want to put this quick disclaimer out here. I don't know if anyone else has ever had this happen to them, but I woke up this morning and I cannot turn to the left. You know what I mean? When you wake up and you slept funny and you're going 90 degrees. Like you're kind of like a robot. I'm a mannequin today. So if I look a little extra stiffy, my apologies. But this is good for like once every 2 years you wake up and your neck is in a ton of pain. September 1st, 2022 was my first of 2 years.
What's worse, neck pain when you wake up or lower back?
I really haven't ever woken up with lower back. Knock on wood, but that's got to be worse. Back, I mean, a back thing can just knock you out. Neck, you just can't really move much laterally, right? Okay, so here we go. Let's jump into some stuff. Here's what we got coming up on today's show. The latest news and rumors. Plus, we are going to go over some trade targets. You are a little disappointed with Andrew Berry maybe not being the flashiest after the NFL roster cuts. Not going for Jalen Reagor, not trying to get Denzel Mims reportedly, whatever it may be. I've got 4 trade ideas that we can go through. Plus, like I mentioned, a live Q&A. So all that coming up on today's show. Let me get a quick swig in. All right, Seeps, are we ready to rock and roll? All right, let's jump into the latest Cleveland Browns news and rumors. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. We've got a lot of ground to cover on today's show. But first, help us out here at the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, let's get to 11,000 subscribers before week 1, right? Before the Browns pour it on Baker and the Panthers. So join me for that celebration by hitting that subscribe button. Welcome in, guys. We've got a jam-packed show for you today. And just before we started filming today's show, Donovan Mitchell was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. City of Champions, right? I mean, producer Patrick and I were chatting. This stuff is contagious, right? Just Tom Brady going down to Tampa Bay. You're seeing the Rays come that close to a World Series. The Lightning win their first Stanley Cup in nearly 2 decades. Hopefully this can, seep through the city streets of Cleveland and all the way to Berea and First Energy Stadium. But we're going to get through a lot of big stuff here on today's show. But first, I want to look at the latest practice squad updates for the Cleveland Browns. So, quarterback Josh Rosen and Isaiah Rochell most recently added to the Browns practice squad. Some other names that were added yesterday: John Kelly. Great to see Mike Harley Jr. back on there. Dalen Baldwin, Zaire Mitchell-Payton, Miller Forrestall. That was an excellent snag for the practice squad. Little surprise he was not claimed off the waiver wire. Brock Hoffman for some stability at that center interior offensive line position. Alex Taylor, Roderick Perry, David Moore. And then 4 more guys here. The list is a complete 16. Don't have the last 2 names just yet. Teams can be a little bit fluid and slow with this process as they want to see who's still on the market. But Isaiah Rochell, I'm a little surprised to see this because he was very upset, deservingly so, after the Browns cut him to make room for Kellen Mond. But he had some interest elsewhere. I guess it never came to fruition because he signs with the Browns practice squad. He's probably the best player on this practice squad, in my opinion. I mean, one, he's the only guy in the practice squad that made the Browns' 53-man initial roster. So the moment there's an injury, not even on the Browns, but on any team at defensive end, teams are not just going to look internally. They will look league-wide. They have people whose jobs it is to examine and study other teams in the NFL, and they can report back with, oh, you need a defensive end? It's kind of a mystery this Rochell guy is on the Browns practice squad. We should bring him over. Now, I think I already answered the question for myself, but I'll let you guys chime in here. Who is your favorite player on the practice squad, right? Who is the guy that you thought was an awesome pickup for the Browns? To keep him on the team was a steal. Let me know down in the comment section below. Now, we've got some more news and rumors to get to today, but we're going to use our Bernie heads here on the show. We've used it before. It's a classic, and it never fails. So the way this works, if we give a story 0 Bernie heads, it's fake news. Don't believe a word. 4 Bernie heads, believe one. Like, for example, Donovan Mitchell, trade rumors to the Cavs, 4 Bernie heads, believe one, because it happened. All right, so the first story. Are the Browns interested in Ndamuking Suh? I'm giving this 1 Bernie head, okay? Now, there is some good news here because 1 Bernie head's not very good. Are the Browns looking at defensive tackles on the other hand? This story I'm going to give 3 Bernie heads. The Browns are reportedly interested in looking to beef up their interior defensive line. It just might not be with number 93 Ndamuking Suh. So the rumor/story originally stems from Brad Stainbrook over at the Orange and Brown Report and ESPN Cleveland as well. Now, congrats on that accomplishment. Source: Browns have expressed interest in defensive tackles around the NFL. I love how this next part was, he knew people were going to be asking, so he just got ahead of it. On Ndamuking Suh. Nothing happening with Suh as of now. I'm told while there's interest from Suh, that's it. Suh will continue to check in with Cleveland as they continue to search the market. This is sort of like a guy who needs a date for prom, and he keeps asking the hot girl, like, do you need a date? She's like, no, I'm going to keep my options open. So the Browns, it doesn't seem like they want to go the veteran route at defensive tackle. Now, here's the issue. If they want to go to free agency, the biggest names are not very far off from Ndamuking Suh in age, right? Sheldon Richardson's 4 years younger, and so if that's really what the driving force is, yeah, I could see a reunion between Richardson and the Browns. Now, another reunion that's possible, what about Danny Shelton? He was just cut by the Chiefs not long ago. Maybe bring back one of those two guys who is familiar with the Browns. Linval Joseph, Star Lutulelli, I think I pronounced that correct. I think I nailed it. But those are 5 free agent defensive tackles that if you're curious who's out in the market, those are my top 5 guys right now. But who do you want the Browns to sign? Whether it's one of those 5 players, or you could open this up to another position. I just want you to know who you are looking at here. Because when we look at this Browns defensive line depth chart, it hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is just how they have performed in the preseason. And it's been a little bit up and down. I thought Jordan Elliott and Taven Bryan had a great game against the Jags. Jordan Elliott, for example, I mean, that QB hurry he had against Trevor Lawrence, I think Elliott looks like the number 1 defensive tackle on this roster. My concern is just the depth. Because career-wise here, you don't have a lot of proven track record outside of Taven Bryan and Jordan Elliott. Tommy Togiai, entering his 2nd season, only played 6 games last year for the Browns. Perrion Winfrey's a rookie who, let's call it how it is, didn't have a good preseason, right? At least for the wildly inaccurate expectations we held him to for a 4th-round pick, he looked like a 4th-round pick. And that's fine. That's not a reason to panic. But the Browns might decide, you know what? We wanted to see how this crew and group could work together through 3 preseason games. And if they didn't reach our standard, right? They didn't reach our threshold, then we would go look to free agency. So we've got more rumors to get to in just a second. But our sportsbook partner, BetUS, is back for another season. And they are back with the best deal out there. Not only will they give you a deposit bonus, but they're going to match it and then add an additional 25% on. So you put $100 in, boom, you've got 125% added on top of it, which means you got $225 to go bet on the Browns +3. Head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. Listen, the fact that the Browns went from -3 to +3, I don't get. Nothing really changed with either of these 2 rosters. Now, I understand that Baker is going to be highly motivated, but I think Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward are going to be equally motivated. So I'm going to take Cleveland +3. Scratch that. Cleveland money line +155. You know what I call that? Free money. Get it over at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. So for our next rumor story on today's show, we're going to have a little fun with this one. Is this Lamar Jackson's last year in Baltimore? I'm going to give it 2 Bernie heads, kind of in the middle. Now, Twitter's a dangerous place for getting got or for misreading stuff or diving in too deep here. But I do think there is something to some of the interesting things that have been said. Let me backtrack. So Russell Wilson this morning got a 5-year, $245 million contract extension. What does that have to do with Lamar Jackson? Well, I'll tell you what it has to do with Lamar Jackson. The NFL is just a one-upping league. Lamar Jackson now will want to be paid higher. He's going to want to be above Russell Wilson on this list of highest paid quarterbacks per year on average. He's going to want to be number 1. And so by the Ravens dragging their feet and waiting, what does that do? Cost them more money. That's what it came down to. And now the other day on Twitter, this is where the story goes full circle, right? It's like Star Wars. Now we're going to go back to the beginning here. Lamar Jackson liked this tweet of him in a Dolphins jersey. Lamar's entering the last year of his contract, and he said, we're not negotiating after week 1 here. Week 1 is in a week and change, guys, 10 days away. I'm not all that optimistic that a deal will get done in the next 10 days. And now let's take a deeper dive, more than just liking a tweet. Because sometimes you accidentally like tweets, that happens. But what about when someone asks point blank, I heard they offered you that $250 million guaranteed. Lamar's response, no, they didn't. Ooh. Well, that's interesting. Because actually, let's go back to that player 5 rank of the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks, Patrick. So they didn't offer him $250 million. Well, now, $49 million, which is a hair below it, is second with Russell Wilson. Sounds to me like if he wants to be the highest paid QB, he's going to need $250 million. And it doesn't sound like the Ravens are going to do that. One side will have to fold. I don't see a reason why Lamar would fold. What does he have to lose? Just wait till he's a free agent. If Tua doesn't work out for the Dolphins this year, they'll give him the bag. And if it's not Tua, let's say Tua's good for Miami this year. You're telling me the New York Giants are going to stick with Daniel Jones over Lamar Jackson? No. I think it's one way or another. 5-year, $250 million, or he walks. So the Ravens can be a bit of a, I don't know, keep their pockets closed franchise at times. Do you guys think they will give Lamar Jackson the bag? Y for yes or N for no? I've actually talked myself out of my already pre-scripted idea, which was I think the Ravens get it done, but if Baltimore didn't want to do it at $250 million, it's going to keep going up, right? I think Baltimore, when it's all said and done, I think they will somehow strike a deal with Lamar, but this price is skyrocketing. It's just going to keep going up. The longer the Ravens drag their feet and negotiate with Lamar Jackson, the more expensive this contract is going to be. He's just going to ask to be the highest paid QB. If they did this after Deshaun Watson got a contract, that would have been $235 million. But since then, 2 QBs have gotten paid more. First Kyler Murray, and now Russell Wilson. The longer the Charm City waits, the more expensive this is. But which team in the AFC North do you hate the most? The Ravens, the Bungles, or the Steelers? You guys know F-Pit is a staple of the channel, but I've had people say, you know what? Let's not forget about the Ravens and the Crows. So let me know which team you cannot stand the most. To wrap up today's show, I just want to look at this quick injury report from practice today on Thursday, September 1st. Wyatt Teller, who suffered a knee injury in week 3 of the preseason, he returned to practice. That was great to see. Myles Garrett was excused with personal reasons. He's unfortunately had some personal issues going on recently. I hope everything is okay in 95's life. Thinking of him right now. Perrion Winfrey, he was excused from practice today with an illness. Jadeveon Clowney, he had a hand injury in that joint practice with the Eagles. That's just been lingering, so the Browns are taking it cautious, and they're resting him 10 days before week 1. A.J. Green and Ronnie Harrison sidelined today, working out individually as they recover from their respective injuries. So that is the injury report today, and that's going to do it for us on today's show. I really appreciate everyone that tuned in, and we've got some more Browns coverage coming your way. All right, let's get some shout-outs here, and we got some Super Chats to get to. The Barry photo? Just don't worry about that. Just go full screen. Okay. Yeah, I forgot that I forgot to include that Colin Sexton was a part of that Donovan Mitchell trade. But who cares? I mean, not who cares, but like, you want to chime in, Patrick?
So it's Sexton and Laurie
Markkinen, and then their first round pick this year.
Yeah, Obaji.
Who's a tough name from Kansas.
Yeah, Oji.
And then 3 firsts and 2 pick swaps. I look at it this way. If we're gonna quick sidebar here. You gave up Colin Sexton, 2 guys who are not you didn't lose anything from a win total this year. Laurie was not going to add much wins.
And Sexton was a free agent.
Sexton was a free agent.
It was a sign-in trade.
And then you lost a rookie who you never got to see.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit like Andrew Wiggins, sort of, but he wasn't Andrew Wiggins. You know what I mean? And then picks, F them picks. Come on. We're not going to argue about picks here. All right, here we go. Scorpion, we missed you, dude. Glad you were also able to make it on time. All right, here is our Super Chats right now. Tristan Cole, we give you a quick beer cheers. Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson on their first games? I'm a little confused on what you're trying to ask here. I understand there's a cap limit for Super Chats, so I'm going to try and fill in the rest here. and assume you are asking for who's going to have a better first game, whether it's just in general or like fantasy football purposes, I'm going to go with Chris Olave. Just from a QB perspective, Zach Wilson is still a little bit unknown. Jameis is going to throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions. But someone's got to catch 30 touchdowns. And Olave is in a wide receiver room with Michael Thomas, Mr. Unreliable, Jarvis Landry, who is simply there because he's from Louisiana. Let's call it what it is, right? Chris Olave, I think, is going to be a big part of this offense. We got a super chat coming in from across the pond, Matthew Hancock. First donation to the channel. Love what you guys do. Always look forward to tuning in. From Matt in England, go Browns. You know what? From one Matthew to another, cheers to you, buddy. I usually rip on British cuisine, but you know what? We'll keep it light today. Thank you so much for always being a part of our live shows, Matthew. Soul Train with the next super chat here. When was the last time all three major Cleveland teams were good at the same time? Has it ever happened? Well, the last time the Cavs were good was 2017. I'll say good, like playoff good, right?
That was the same year the Cubs beat the Indians.
That was 2016.
Yeah, so the same year the Cavs won in 2016.
So 2016 would have been, 3-1 series, just different ways it ended.
Yeah.
So, but the Browns were not good in 2016. This is a very good question, Soul Train. I'm just trying to think of, before now, the last time the Browns were good were mid-2000s. No, I don't think LeBron. 2003 is interesting. This is a very good trivia question. Have the three teams ever made the playoffs the same year? The last time the Browns made the playoffs before 2020 was a long time ago. So I'm just trying to now piece together with the Cavs. This is a tough one here. Okay, we'll come back to this question. If someone wants to answer this trivia we just set off on ourselves here, by all means, knock yourself out here. We got one more super chat to get to. We're at $16 in super chat. Here's my deal to you guys. If we get to $25, me and producer Patrick will take a shot together. $25, that means $9 more. You guys can split it amongst yourselves. If one of you guys wants to be a super chat MVP, $25, we're going to take some shots. $50, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time on this live show. All right, let me get this one more super chat on the screen. Okay, pick one, Uncle Jim or Jimmy Haslam. So Uncle Jim is the guy who gave me my jersey, my uncle. Jimmy Haslam is spending money. So I'm going to go my Uncle Jim. I like my uncle. He's really funny. But Jimmy Haslam, he needs to shut his mouth and just let his checkbook do everything for him.
Shay also mentioned she had an Otto Graham jersey. I'm going to call a little cap on that.
Wow, I've never seen your Otto Graham jersey. I've never even heard you mention Otto Graham before. We got another super chat. Let's go. And this super chat speaks to one person in the room very deeply. Okay, so let's look at Josh's super chat. We're at $18 now, by the way, almost at $25. Defensive tackle Armon Watts, safety Anthony Harris, or Will Fuller. So Watts was just released by the Vikings, but he was claimed by the Bears, was he not? So that's not possible. Now there's not an there's not an Armani Watts, right? That was the confusion we had. Schefter accidentally tweeted out Armani Watts yesterday, and we were all like, who? Anthony Harris, who was waived by the Eagles. Where's he going to fit in this depth chart? We can actually look at the Browns safety depth chart here. I like the room as it is. I mean, you want to cut Richard LeCount for him? Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I just think there is something to the NFL of this isn't exactly fantasy football. Where, yes, if an improvement can be made, you make it. But there is something to this is a locker room. There is a human element there. And I understand this is a business. But also, you don't want to send a message in your team of, hey, just because you work your tail off and you make this roster, we'll cut you at any moment. Like, that sounds a little pansy-ass, but I do think there is some truth to GMs wanting to reward players for hard work and letting them make their roster. So that's why I'm not going to go that route there. And then finally, Will Fuller. Listen, if they were going to sign Will Fuller, don't you think they would have already done it by now? why wait this long, you know? You've seen everything you need to see from this wide receiver room. So, all right, we're going to get some questions later on in our show. We're going to have a mailbag for all of you guys here. So use hashtag Browns or Super Chat like a handful of you guys already have. Really appreciate those donations. Make sure you get those questions in. You got to use hashtag Browns, though. No hashtag Browns. Producer Patrick can't put it on screen. And no fun in that. So use hashtag Browns. Okay. Let me get another cheers here. All right. Are we ready? So we're going to get into some trade targets right now. Well, once we get the green light from Patrick, we will blast off. Seeps, are we ready to rock and roll? Okay, we don't need the intro. We're good. No intro, yeah. Don't you guys love when you get to see the behind the screens of some movie magic happen, some YouTube magic? I'll explain why later. Okay, are we ready to rumble? Which is not a sponsor, but free sponsor. Rumble.com/Browns Report. Check it out. No, then that's wrong there. Yeah. This is BetUS. Yeah, my bad. All right. No more chit-chat. Let's do this thing. Here we go. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report. I am your host, Matthew Peterson. Today's show was filmed during our live Browns Report, which airs every single Thursday at 4 Eastern, so make sure you tune in for our next live edition. But today's show is all about trades, because you know what? There's nothing more American than trading players and ice cream trucks. So we're going to go through a couple of trade ideas that maybe make sense for the Browns, and I'll give my takes on them. But first, I think it's important to set the foundation. If you want to trade for anyone, you got to have something to trade. And the Browns currently have 8 picks in the 2023 NFL Draft. They don't have a first-round pick to offer up. They're not trading their second. They do have 2 fourths, though. They do have a third thanks to Kwesi getting hired by the Vikings. So they do have some ammunition, believe it or not, to try and pull off a trade. So here is my first trade target. Tight end Mike Gesicki. I know it is a bit of a head-scratcher, but hear me out, because when there's smoke, there tends to be fire. We saw this transpire over NFL Cut Day. Jalen Reagor's getting traded. Well, he ended up getting traded. And Mike Gesicki trade rumors have been alive and well. The Dolphins have been rumored to be interested in trading him after placing him on the franchise tag this year, because Mike McDaniel comes over from San Francisco, where they just ran the football down your throat. Gesicki's not a Kittle. He cannot block that well. That is not a part of his repertoire. So he has struggled so far in South Beach, catching on with this new playbook, and it's made him affordable. And we're talking about a tight end last year that would have been the #1 leading receiver on this Browns roster. And he had a bit of a down year with 780 yards, 2 touchdowns. Former day 2 pick out of Penn State would slot in quite nicely on this depth chart here. I think he would be an actual Austin Hooper, right? And hopefully actually go for something after catching the football and not just go down immediately. I think this one is reaching for the stars a little bit, but I wouldn't be blown away if Andrew Berry decides to go a little bit more chips in the middle of the table if Gesicki could be got for somewhat cheap. Now here's what Pro Football Focus said about the trade rumors. In fact, the Dolphins have brought up Gesicki's name to other teams. A league source told Pro Football Focus. That doesn't mean anything will transpire, but Miami has been willing to engage in conversations. So hold on to that thought, and then let's connect it to this tweet right here from Jack Duffin, who says, I wonder if Andrew Berry decides to call Miami and ask about Mike Gesicki. Miami has a need at running back, so the Browns could trade Dearness Johnson for Gesicki, a bit of a win-win for both parties. Miami wants to have a good stable of running backs for Mike McDaniel's offense. It's not really shaping up to be like that right now. Chase Edmonds is their #1, and that's fine, but this is really the first time he's gone into a season being a #1. DEJ could help out immensely, and if Gesicki's not geared to fit this offense, why keep him around on an expensive franchise tag? And teams can have 2 players on the franchise tag, by the way. But name a player you want to trade for. This is your opportunity to be a part of the show and sound off in the comments section. Who would you like to see the Browns trade for? I'll be looking down in the comment section. Next trade target. Let's attack the wide receiver need here. Denzel Mims. If he wasn't traded during NFL cut day, there's some reason to believe that he might not be traded now. But it's not over. I mean, this stuff happens in the NFL. So the Jets' own GM was on a podcast with The Athletic, and here's what he said about not trading Denzel Mims. Ultimately, nothing materialized, especially anything we would consider the right value for a player of Denzel's talent and ability. Well, we just saw Jalen Reagor go for a 7th and a 4th, and he was a first-round pick. Denzel Mims goes for, as a former second-rounder who's only had 490 career yards, call it a 5th? It sounds about right-ish, right? Now, here's what Denzel Mims said. Of course, I'm frustrated that I'm not going to be playing with the starters. But I just got to continue to work. Yeah, he is buried on this depth chart behind players like rookie Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios. Some don't even think he's wide receiver 5 here. So Denzel Mims, a name to keep an eye on for sure. Now, today is the first day of September as we film this live show, but we are off on a sub battle with our Steelers Talk channel here at Chat Sports for the entire month of September. So you know what? I want to destroy them in subs. If you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you love the Cleveland Browns, and if you are competitive like I am, go ahead and click that sub button. Let's check out the next trade target. This one comes from the Detroit Lions. Quintez Cephas, and this is a lower key name, but a name to keep an eye on for. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. But first, today's sponsor, BetUS, has a great deal for the Dawg Pound. Not only can you get a 125% deposit bonus, but they'll also hook you up with some of the best lines out there. When you go to chatsports.com/bet and you put in promo code Browns125, put in $100, they're going to give you an additional $125. What do you want to bet on? How about this right here? How about the Browns +3? How about the Browns money line? They were favored against the Carolina Panthers not long ago. What's changed? Just attitudes and mentality towards Baker. Nothing else has changed. I'm taking the Browns money line. I already placed my bet a month ago because I was that confident on it. Make your bets today at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Browns125. Another great spot to also make all of your Saturday college football picks. Now, let's take a deeper dive at the Lions wide receiver, Quintez Cephas. So, a former day 3 pick out of just 2 years ago, 35 career receptions, 553 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Guys, if this is a stat line for someone on the Browns wide receiver depth chart, it's one of the more impressive stat lines out there because this room is largely untested. And right now, Cephas is pretty well buried on this Lions depth chart, which, by the way, is still waiting for Jameson Williams to return. Once he comes on this team, he'll be wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 at worst, and that's going to bump everyone down. The Lions might try to sell now and get something for a player who might be demoted off the active roster once Jameson Williams is healthy here. Now, while we talk about wide receivers, we like to keep it light here at the channel. We don't always have to do a deep dive on the X's and O's of players. So who is your favorite Browns receiver of all time? I always cheat when I give my answer. I go Josh Cribbs, only because you say Josh Cribbs, you think of special teams, but I'm a sucker for special teams. So I go Josh Cribbs every time. Let me know who your favorite receiver is in the comments. Speaking of receivers, our last trade target is an oldie but a goodie, Darius Slayton. So after a lot of talk, I thought he would not make the Giants' initial 53-man roster. Ultimately, we saw some injuries happen at the Giants' wide receiver room, and that opened up an avenue for Slayton to make this roster. The Giants were in heavy trade talks. Couldn't find an offer. Might that change now? Darius Slayton is probably the most proven guy we've talked about today. Not probably, he is. He's got nearly 2,000 career yards and 13 touchdowns. The issue is what we've talked about all along. 12 drops over his last 2 seasons. He has just slowly been declining since his fantastic rookie season, 5th-round pick out of Auburn. So Darius Slayton, another name just to keep an eye on as we get closer to week 1. Maybe Andrew Berry gets a little impatient at practice and goes, you know what? This room ain't cutting it. We got to make a move now to help Jacoby Brissett weather the storm for 11 games. Now, before we get you guys on your way, make sure you click that sub button. If you haven't already, would greatly appreciate it. Goes a long way to helping us grow the channel here at Chat Sports to get more studio time, to get more Browns content out to the Dawg Pound. All right, let's check out some, we got Super Chat too. I think we got to get some shots going. We're at $24.51. That rounds up. I'm a math, whoever went to their teacher and was like, hey, 89.5, that's a 90, right? Favorite Browns receiver of all time, Jarvis Landry from Hancock, that's a great one. Love Juice. Paul Warfield, that's another good one. Ray Collins going with Ozzie. Webster Slaughter, I expected to see a lot of Webster Slaughters out there. I also love asking these types of questions because it's a good way to see just that this Browns fan base is not only ocean to ocean, but everyone watching is from all walks of life, right? You got guys who are referencing players from the 60s and 70s to me going Josh Cribbs from a decade ago here. Here's our super chat from Matthew Hancock, his second of the day. Ba-da-da, da-da-da. For a trade, Robbie Anderson. Okay, there is animosity due to his comments about Baker. Why not grab him for a late pick? So the Panthers were trying to move Robbie Anderson. Ultimately, they ended up receiving a player. They traded for Laviska Shenault from the Jacksonville Jaguars. The trade for Robbie never happened. Wouldn't rule it out. Not just saying for the Browns, but in general. Because now their receiver room with DJ Moore and Laviska Shenault and Terrence Marshall and Robbie Anderson, it's a bit crowded. If you can get something for a player, and keep in mind the Carolina Panthers, they have lost draft picks to move up to get Matt Corral, to get Baker Mayfield, to get Sam Darnold, to get Stephon Gilmore, and to get Laviska Shenault. That's 5 trades right there where they were the Rams and said F them picks, which is fine if you are good like the Rams. But they ain't, right? They're not winning a Super Bowl this year. So, yeah, I could see them wanting to make a move right here. Do you think, Matthew, you can get 2 shots of Fireball for Patrick and I while we get some questions rolling? We got another super chat. Let's go, Cardiac Dogs. That's my guy right there. That's my guy. Now we're well over 25. So if there's any doubt, we did it. There we go. So the next benchmark for a round of shots for producer Patrick and I, what do you want to put it at? $40. Okay. We're having a good bargain going right now. It's a sale here at the Browns Report. $40, another round of office shots. And hey, for all of you guys watching at home, by all means, join in on the fun. Got to be over 21. I'm not going to jail. All right, trade for Daron Payne from Washington. This was a popular trade name a couple months ago. Nothing ever materialized, obviously.
What does he go for? Like,
so,
what's his asking
former
price?
first-round pick that I'm about to say can't say that name anymore. The Commanders didn't give him his 5th-year extension, and he wants that extension. He wants to be, extended. So I think he probably goes for a 3rd-round pick. I only say that because I think teams are realizing now, unless you have an Aaron Donald, it's not worth, like what Andrew Berry's doing, putting in a ton of resources into a position that's sort of receding. Meaning interior, like run-stopping defensive lineman, the 10th best guy to the 30th is not a huge difference compared to other positions, right? Where the number 10 wide receiver is way better than the number 30 wide receiver. Defensive line, once you go out of the top big name, top tier echelon of the Aaron Donalds of the world, all of a sudden it's like, you know what? They're not worth all that big money because the guy we would pay half that is not half as bad. He's just a little bit worse. And we'd rather put that money elsewhere. So I like the idea of trading for Payne to complete this roster and put a bow on this defense. That you go interior line, Payne, pass rush, Garrett, second level, JOK and Walker, secondary, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, John Johnson, Grant Delpit. But at a price of a second or a third round pick when you don't have a first, I give it the old, I don't know, Jim.
I actually got a question for you and the chat.
Yeah.
So Greg Newsome, he was one of my favorite players to watch at Northwestern. I met him one time. He's like,
Okay.
He was just like a super nice, classy guy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about him year 2 this year? Because I think he could be legit.
He could be very legit. Here's the thing with Greg Newsome this year. He moves to the slot nickel corner position. This is new. He's taking over Troy Hill's job from last year. In fact, he was talking about this yesterday after practice, saying he's learned a ton from Troy Hill last year. This is a new position for him relatively-ish. You know, it's still a corner, but it's a new role in the secondary. So it isn't apples to apples. He has the makings to be this top cornerback duo with him and Denzel Ward, right? I love what I saw out of him his rookie season. He missed some time here and there. He's battling a hamstring injury right now that looks like it's just precautionary, but still, I think Greg Newsome is going to be an absolute monster on defense this year. We got to see that twitchiness, right? We got to get those cliche buzzwords in when you talk about nickel corners. You got to get twitchy. You got to get active hands. That's what you're not. If you hear any coach say twitchy and active hands, straight to Canton, straight to the Hall of Fame as a nickel corner here. We got another super chat coming in from G Money Uptown. No Will Fuller. I think Will Fuller's time or window to come to the Browns is closing, barring an injury. If the Browns sign Will Fuller tomorrow, what's changed since signing him at the beginning of camp? We've got the drinking MVP here at Chat Sports. Trace Gerard, he's on payroll just for the liver. That, and he does a lot of other great stuff here. But we love Trace.
I came to take a shot. I'm not even going to lie. I just came on to take a shot.
That's what Trace does. He just takes shots. Or he pours healthy shots too.
Hey, all I'm going to say is F.
Yeah, so he's going to F Cincinnati.
It's all good. This one's mine.
Ooh.
Like I said,
Wait till you got to see these cahunas.
I'm on the payroll.
They're triples.
Let's go.
They're triple deckers.
The Browns fans ain't scared.
Let's go Browns.
Let's go Browns. Woo!
Okay. We got more super chats. We're $5 away from another tall boy of whatever that was. Oh, boy. Okay. I'm sweating. I got the fan on. Okay, here we go. Let's get the more super chats on screen. I got to pull the sleeves up now. I feel like Jim Brown just getting to business here. Yeah. So, Will Fuller, really quickly. What changed from now until a month ago? If they sign him tomorrow, unless an injury happens, the only thing that could be is Will Fuller's asking price, which has to be close to vet minimum, has gone down, meaning maybe less incentives. And now the Browns are like, you know what? You thought you'd get an offer elsewhere. You didn't. You want to come aboard here. So we got 2 more super chats to throw on screen here, Seeps.
And we're also $5 away from another
Yeah,
shot.
$5 away from another shot. I might throw up. I mean, not really, but like, you ever take a shot and you're like, whoa, that went to a different part of my body. I didn't know that was there. All right, the Brown Tiger, since Brissett played with T.Y. Hilton in Indianapolis, other than coming back from injury, why not give him some familiarity? So I'm happy you asked this question. I think, what's that? Yeah. I'm happy you asked this question because I think sometimes stuff like this, as sports fans, we can get a little lost on, where it's like, T.Y., why not just sign him? He was great on my fantasy team. You know what I mean? Like, he was awesome. He was reliable. When a player who comes off a pretty big injury, he had a neck injury, is unsigned, that to me is sort of like what we saw, for example, from Mitchell Schwartz, who didn't sign after he got injured last year. And then he announced, once he retired, yeah, I was really banged up. Maybe there's not an issue with the Browns side. Maybe it's T.Y. telling his agent, whoever calls, tell him I'm not playing football anymore. You know, I just haven't heard any buzz from like T.Y.'s camp of like, here's a video of T.Y. Hilton working out. He's ready to go. Don't you think he would post that kind of stuff? Maybe, maybe not. I think that, yes, on paper, it makes sense to connect those dots. We got more shots. Let's go, Matthew. He's a MVP so far. 15 pounds in dollars. That's like 1,000 US, I think. No, not really. This isn't the Colombian peso. Yeah, I know. Another super chat from Cardiac Dogs. Am I crazy for worrying about our safety group? No, yeah, you are. I'm sorry. I like this safety room a ton. When, for example, DeAnthony Bell's a UDFA makes it, not because there's an issue at safety, but because he was so good, the Browns couldn't risk putting him through the waiver wire because someone else would have claimed him. That speaks to how deep this safety room is. So I love this safety room. All right, Matthew Hancock, more shots. Let's go. Let's get the party started. This time it's me and producer Patrick. You guys get to see the man behind the ones and twos. Is this your first? Whoa, don't walk on. What do you think he looks like? Ginger or no ginger? Yeah, I hate to disappoint you guys. Here we go. Behind the scenes, indeed, with his Scary Terry shirt on. All right, don't do the top one again like Trace came on here. Trace is our office Cajun dude. Oh, shit, I poured it really. They took the stopper out. That's okay. Here we go.
Cheers, I got a baby one.
This one's, cheers to Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, to D. Mitch coming to Cleveland. I need a second. Okay. Cannonball coming, Cannonball. Name that movie. First person that names that movie gets a shout out from me, and I'll finish my drink. Cannonball coming, Cannonball. Cannonball coming, Cannonball. Okay, we got some mailbags to get into. Get your questions in using hashtag Browns. Caddyshack Ray, let's go. That's my guy. I love it. Such a great line. Tyler Jones walking in the studio. Oh, I thought you were coming in to offer one of your expert beer boots. Tyler just sells his liver for us. Come on screen. We're having a party. So here's Tyler Jones.
How we doing, everybody?
Yeah, they can't hear you that well, but
I wanted to escape the funeral going on over at Nick's.
Yeah, tell him.
I had to escape the funeral going on at Nick's, and I wanted to laugh a little bit, at the Nick's. I like laughing at the Nick's.
So Tyler joined us back in March, and what he didn't put on his resume is that he can crush a beer boot in like 10 seconds. What's your starting rate go right now?
I'll get a little discount.
Discount for the Brownies.
For the Brownies, even though I host Ravens Rundown.
Well, yeah, I forgot I didn't mention that on purpose.
Subscribe now.
No, don't. Like the video, you can't stand the Ravens.
I'm going to offer a deal for the Browns.
Yeah, deal for the Browns for a beer boot.
I will do a boot for a $15 super.
$15 super chat. That is the cheapest rate we've ever seen here. You can't beat this market. It's the beer boot from the movie. What's it called? Beer Fest. Yeah, it's that. It's like a German boot. 3 whole beers, and he just deletes it in 10 seconds. I've never seen anything like it, to be frankly honest with you guys.
I do it about as fast as Lamar Jackson runs.
Oh, okay. Which you'll be running for the Miami Dolphins soon, because it's not going to be once the Ravens aren't paying him here. F the Ravens is right. Boo the Ravens, everyone.
F Petey.
No, why would you say that on my show? We're going to mute you. All right. $15 super chat, and Teacher comes on screen and gives us a full beer boot, and we all get to say F the Ravens. So, Josh had to get someone with the polo on. Yeah, this was all planned. You got me, Josh. Teacher's polo's on sale, $15. Here we go. Okay, are we ready to get into a mailbag? Because I think the people have been waiting. Okay. So let's get a mailbag. If we get a $15 super chat, we're going to get Tyler from the bullpen into the studio, and he's got a beer boot coming your way here. But get those questions in, hashtag Browns or super chat. Seeps, are we looking good on questions? Okay. We're at $41 in super chats. If you don't want to spend $9, we'll do something more. We'll do another round of shots, and I'll probably throw up after that round. But I don't know. The first one, just when you take a shot, and it's like you're at a bar, and you're like, "Whoa, that was not a good idea." I had that moment, but stone cold sober at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's where I'm at right now. All right, are we ready to rock and roll? All right, let's jump into a Cleveland Browns mailbag, everyone. Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. We've got a mailbag coming for the Dawg Pound today. Now, this mailbag comes to you guys from our live show, which is every Thursday at 4 Eastern. So if you're watching and you want to ask a question in a future show, just join us. Thursdays, 4 o'clock Eastern, right here on the channel. Our first question comes in from a channel MVP, the Brown Tiger. How fired up do you think Garrett is to sack Mayfield? On a scale of 1 to 10, the cliche is 11, I go 12. Right? Myles Garrett is going to be bringing it for two reasons. One, players that are at the top of their game, at the top of their position, always bring it. Players that, they may not say it publicly, but you better believe there is some sort of extra drive coming in from inside to bring down 6. Yeah. And even if the Panthers put 3 guys on Myles Garrett, fine. Clowney's on the other side of the line, and he had 9 sacks last year. Let him have it, 90. Next question comes in from Gregory H. Are you worried about Conklin or the rest? Are you worried about Conklin or the rest of the hurt being ready? So I think what Gregory's referring to, the rest of the hurt, is players like Wyatt Teller and Denzel Ward. Although Ward's return, so not even him. No, I'm not all that concerned about anyone besides Jack Conklin, because Conklin is already way ahead of schedule on his recovery. And if he's not ready for week 1, that's fine. You know what I mean? The world will keep spinning. James Hudson or Chris Hubbard, whoever it may be, can step in quite nicely. Hudson can step in quite nicely for Jack Conklin. So, no, I am not all that concerned. Greg Newsome is looking fine as he gets back from his hamstring injury. If I had to scale it 1 to 10, 2.7. That's where I'm at. This next question comes in from El Rancho. Who is slept on this Browns defense? Good question. Good question, El Rancho. Can I cheat? I'm going to cheat because it's my show and I got the ability to do so. And I'm going to go with an entire room on defense. I think this Browns safety room doesn't get talked about enough. Yes, all the spotlight is on Myles Garrett and the pass rush with Clowney and JOK stepping into a bigger role. Anthony Walker coming back healthy and ready to go for year 2. And then Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Greedy Williams, Martin Emerson. But what about Grant Delpit and John Johnson, who they said themselves form the best safety room in the NFL? I'm not sure if I'd go all the way to say if it's number 1. The Bills is pretty good. The Steelers is pretty good. But with Ronnie Harrison, I mean, this Browns team is going to run a lot of 3 safety sets. DeAnthony Bell looked awesome. We'll see how much that carries over to regular season football. But this safety room is better than people give it credit for, because Grant Delpit is only going to take a much bigger leap in his technically year 3, but basically year 2 with the Browns here. But I'll let you guys decide where you stand on this Browns defense. Give it a letter grade for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Where would you grade the Browns defense? We got a question coming in from Zachary Wolf here on the channel. I remember we gave Deshaun $46 million a year, and everyone was flipping out. But people weren't going crazy when Murray got $47 million a year. Interesting, they said Murray down the line would be cheap. You know what? It's funny you bring up that question, Zach, because we can pull up the top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And you're absolutely right that Deshaun at the time, $230. Now, granted, the bigger mind blown was that it was all guaranteed. But just from a yearly average salary here, $45 million seems pretty good per year when you look at what happened just recently with Russell Wilson getting a contract extension. And if Lamar asked to be number 1, Watson goes from at one point being number 2 on this list to almost going off screen at number 5 once Joe Burrow gets his contract. So very happy with that contract, in my opinion, in terms of how that's looking these day and age with Murray and Wilson getting paid afterwards. Josh Miller, the next question on screen. What was the point of the Mon move to steal a roster spot and then turn around and sign Rosen? One of AB's more perplexing moves. Yeah, I agree that on the surface, it's a little bizarre. Here's my best guess at it. Andrew Berry saw an opportunity to get a quarterback who he thinks could have long-term potential to be the backup for Deshaun Watson. Jacoby Brissett is not going to just ride the bench for the Browns for the next 5-6 years with Watson in town. So he saw an opportunity to get a QB who was a third-round pick and had some great years at Texas A&M, all for Isaac Rochelle's roster spot. And he likes maybe the idea of Kellen Mond being a long-term backup. I think the more head-scratching thing is, didn't Josh Dobbs look more like a long-term backup than Kellen Mond did in preseason this year? That's the more infuriating side of this. Not so much, yes, Rochell going off the active roster is a bummer, but let's be honest, once regular season rolls around, it's going to be 3 pass rushers pretty much. Garrett, Clowney, Alex Wright looks like he can do that job right now. And so you lose out on Rochell on the active roster, but I agree the move was a bit mind-boggling, but an AB I trust. Now, if you guys are looking for Browns content all season long, I don't want you to hit the sub button. Everyone says smash it, hit it, be gentle, tickle, pickle. Just tap the sub button, and boom, you will get daily Browns content all 2022 season long here, including mailbags like Derek Poland, who's got a question on Auden Tate. Derek is active in the comments section, and he is always asking if the Browns can sign Tate. Here's where I sort of stand on not even just Auden Tate, but in general signing a receiver at this point. If they were going to do it, I think they already would have. I think Andrew Berry has faith and trust in David Bell, Anthony Schwartz rebounding, and Michael Woods playing week 1. If all 3 of those 3 things happen, he doesn't feel the need to bring someone else into this room. But I understand the concern. Believe me, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm more so just trying to do my best to understand what's going through AB's mind, because that's the most important mind in Cleveland right now. Josh Miller asking, former Vikings defensive tackle Armon Watts would be a solid pickup. Bring in wide receiver Will Fuller and safety Anthony Harris, and this is a Super Bowl-bound team. I'm pretty sure Armon Watts was claimed by the Chicago Bears during the waiver wire period. Let me just check that really quickly. Let me see here. Ready? Yeah. So rule out Watts. Will Fuller and Anthony Harris, I kind of give the same spiel for Will Fuller. I have said if Jacoby Brissett's your quarterback for a long time, bring in some help, right? Give him some more playmakers. It's September right now, and Barry hasn't done that yet. To me, that tells me Barry's confident in this room. Should we be confident in it? That's a different question. And personally, I wish I had the confidence that Andrew Berry had in this room. Because after the preseason drops from Anthony Schwartz, Michael Woods with a hamstring injury, and a rookie David Bell, who missed a chunk of training camp in preseason with a stress foot fracture, I would love to see an extra veteran receiver on this team. As for Anthony Harris, big name. I like the safety room. I'll keep it as it is. Okay, we've got a great deal going on right now. Thanks to our friends at Fanatics, you can get not just 1, but 2 shirts. 40% off as well, by the way. When you go to chatsports.com/BrownsCombo, that link, by the way, in the comments and the description, here's the thing. It's fall right now. It's still going to be hot for a little bit, so you can wear the short sleeve t-shirt. But then, when you're in the Mooney lot in October and you want to be a little, more comfortable, rep this long sleeve underneath your Browns jersey. Get it today on sale. The sale won't last forever. Shipping is a B. Get it today before stock runs out. Chatsports.com/BrownsCombo. Eddie and Ed. We almost had Ed, and Eddie. Yeah, Browns versus Panthers. Script the first 3 plays. This is fun. Let's talk about football here, right? Actually, like between the lines. First play, I think it's probably going to be something to relax Jacoby Brissett. Power run with Nick Chubb to the left side behind Jay Wills, especially if Conklin's not starting. Play number 2, after a pickup of 7 on first down. How about a deep shot to Anthony Schwartz? Kind of raise his confidence a little bit. Now, if it's a drop, then we'll shatter it into a million pieces. Let's assume it's a drop. 3rd down, slant to Amari Cooper, move the chains. Those are my first 3 plays right there for Browns versus the Panthers. Now, speaking of Browns versus the Panthers, who do you got week 1? I gave a rather emphatic speech on this channel the other day saying, if you are pulling for the Carolina Panthers week 1 because of Baker and then plan to come back to the Browns in week 2, don't. Stay. Enjoy that season with the Panthers. We don't want you. Be a Browns fan all season long. I understand what Baker did for this team in City to help elevate it out of the dumps. But you know what? It's still a team, and no player is bigger than the team. Just ask Tom Brady that with the New England Patriots. So no, do not put that you're pulling for Baker in week 1. I'm going with CLE for the Cleveland Browns, and I'm taking the money line too because they're going to pour it on. Josh asking another question. Is the season almost lost if Amari Cooper... Why would you say that? What, Josh? If Amari Cooper... I'm not going to say the next word. It's like a craps table. You don't say that number. If Amari Cooper gets beep for an extended period of time, it's pretty bad. That's the risk you run when you go with a rookie, a case of the drops, and DPJ, who's a little like we're all banking and hoping he brings it this year, but we've never seen him do that yet for a full season. So, is the season almost lost? Maybe, yeah, I think so. I don't want to answer that question because of how sad it makes me feel inside, but it's not good, that's for sure. Okay, luckily, here's the good news. Amari Cooper has missed like 2 games in his career, and I think 1 was due to COVID. He is very healthy and reliable. Matthew Hancock, who is a legend here at the channel, why do you think we will ever get an actual logo, or do you think we will ever get an actual logo rather than just our helmet? No, it's really hard to switch up logos because of branding stuff. I mean, the Rams did it because they moved cities. We'll bring producer Patrick in. Can you think of the last NFL team to change their logo without moving cities?
Besides the Rams? But they moved cities.
The Eagles didn't change their logo. They changed the font of, like, the Eagles text.
I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah.
Alternate logo. Do you think it's the dog? Like the Dawg
Well,
Pound
so they're unveiling new end zones for week 2 against the Jets, the home opener. And it's got the elf or it's got, the Dawg Pound. But, no, I think it's going to be the actual logo. Is this our last question on the mailbag? Okay, so that is it for today's mailbag. I really appreciate all of you guys who hopped in, who asked questions, who joined the show. Really appreciate all the support we get here at the channel. Make sure you subscribe for more Browns YouTube content. All right, let's check out what the people are saying in the streets here. Browns, would you want to get a wide receiver or defensive tackle? Good question, Scorpion. Give me a wide receiver. I think defensive tackle might be a bigger need, but wide receiver is a bigger impact on the game. At least week 1, let's see how Taven Bryan, Jordan Elliott, and Tommy Togiai fare with some Perion Winfrey sprinkled in here. Receiver, I mean, if Amari Cooper gets, shut down and DPJ is having a bad game, who we turn into? Like David Bell, I'm confident in, but there is something to, hey, he wasn't a first-round pick, and he missed a lot of very valuable practice and training camp and preseason. So I'm not ready just to jump into that pool of David Bell can rescue a game if we need him to, because Anthony Schwartz not going to do it. So at least a Will Fuller or a T.Y. Hilton can turn a slant into a 40-yard pickup and get you in Cade York field goal range here. All right, we're going to get the shot clock going soon here. If we don't get any more super chats, we're going to have to sign off because it's a busy day at Chat Sports and the studio space is at a premium right now.
The $15 boot is still on the table, though.
$15
just
boot from
clear.
Tyler Jones.
Yeah.
I do have some good news, though. We are expanding here at Chat Sports. We're getting some more studio space, so we're not going to be, like, rushed out all the time because the way it works is, like, my boss opens the door and he gives you the stink eye of wrap it up. And you know what silences that door? A super chat. All right, let's do what Brown Tiger said. Let's have fun and predict how many sacks Myles Garrett has on Mayfield. I feel like this could be one of those things where it's either 4 sacks or 0.
Yeah.
You know, it's either boom or bust. You know, it's not going to be half a sack.
Yeah.
I'll go with 3.
Big day.
It kind of reminds me of what's his face from the Cardinals last year, week 1 against the Titans. Chandler Jones. He went off for 5 sacks.
And then he finished the year with like 7, which was like.
Oh, he did nothing after that.
He did nothing the rest of the year.
He was like a guy who clocked in and like, I'm clocking out. That's it for me all year. I hit my incentive. It was 4.5. Peace out. I'll go with 3 sacks. No bias, of course, there. Let me know. Scorpion thinks he'll get 8 or 9. Jeez.
Is that the sack record?
That is more than the sack record. I mean, the sack record in a game has got to be close to 9, I would bet. I bet it's like
guy?
no, and for a whole team sack record in an NFL game. I bet it's like 11 sacks. Someone could fact check me here. Most sacks in the game by a team.
7 sacks. Oh, by a team.
By a team. What's the individual record?
7.
Are you muted?
No, I'm unmuted.
Okay, good.
7 sacks by Derek Thomas in 1990 against the Seahawks. He had
Who could
7
forget?
Sacks.
Yeah. Duh. Okay, Scorpion just beat you to it. 7. Yeah.
14 sacks is the all-time record.
Wait. Did it happen recently?
No, 1952.
Wait, they weren't keeping sacks back then. Did they go back and count?
I guess they did. Yeah.
Is there a whole bunch of like who's second? Can you see
here,
that kind of stuff? Who's the 14 though?
Okay, so 12 is the New York Giants in 2007. There's a 5 or 6 team tie for 12 sacks.
Most recent was the Giants in 2007 with.
By far the most recent.
Would that have been Strahan and was Strahan
Tuck.
there and OC Usamanura? OC whatever his name is?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Strahan.
right. Yeah, Strahan. Okay. Never forget when Strahan broke the sack record and Brett Favre just like took a knee for him. What a sad way to claim the record right there.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we're ready to wrap up today's show. We're going to put the shot clock on. So here's how this works. If we get a super chat and the next, I'll make it 3 minutes. Chat Sports, we do 2. Browns fans get an extra minute because I love you guys. Okay. 3 minutes. We'll keep the party going. We'll get hopefully $50. We'll get more shots. $15. We're $9 away from 50. $15. We get Tyler Jones out here to crush 3 beers in 10 seconds. It's a spectacle. It is literally like going to the circus. Okay. Here we go. Timer's on. I got my Tennessee Vols case on. Vols, they better cover 35 points against Ball State tonight. It sounds stupid, stupid right now, but 35 in college football against Ball State, who I found out today lost their starting quarterback. Pour the money line on.
Poor guy who's got to step in first game.
Oh my
SEC
God!
opponent.
At Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, with 100,000 people rocking and rolling. Tim, wasn't Baker sacked 9 times by the Steelers? Yes, in week. Not 18, 16, right? What was that? 4.5 times by J.J. Watt, or 5 times by J.J. Watt? Because he held the ball for half a decade and a half, yeah. We're almost at a minute. Super chat, we keep the show going. It just like resets the shot clock. Any kind of super chat, we keep the party going. Otherwise, we got to hand the studio over to Vikings Now, because the Vikings have a practice squad they want to look at. So we will attend that. So follow me on Twitter, by the way, if you haven't already, at Matthew Petey. We'll get that link in the comments and the description of today's show. We're almost at 2 minutes. If not, we're going to have to pack it up. But I'm believing someone out there right now is going to be like, you know what? The show goes on, all right? With a Wall Street style, the show goes on here. I remember defensive end Fred Dean dropped vouchers with the 49ers in the early 80s. Like right now, we're just going to a football time machine in the live chat. If you're in it right now, we have just gone down to the deeps. Myles Garrett. Yeah, so here we go. We got 20 seconds. Oh, no, a little more than that because we got 3 minutes here. One more super chat. Show goes on. Otherwise, we're going to have to pack it up. Okay. If you just joined us late, Donovan Mitchell got traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Isaac Rochell and Josh Rosen were added to the practice squad. And we've got some other news and notes on today's show to get to. But that was kind of the bare bones of today's show. I would say it's a really fun show. Patrick, would you agree?
I had a great time. Honestly,
Yeah.
I love coming in here, chopping it up, talking football with
Football,
with the
never
Brownies.
gets old. Let's go! At the buzzer! Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Okay. So, shots. The show goes on. If Matthew Hancock says so, the show goes on. So let's go. Let's get some more shots. I'm not doing a full shot again. I'll do a normal size, a proportion shot here. I lost my bartender license if I did a full if I pour myself another shot again. Producer Patrick coming on. Let's go, Matthew Hancock. This one's for you, buddy. Let's go is right. Now, can anyone keep it going? Oh, thank God. The stopper was off last time. I made a pool in my glass. Just floated to the top. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. We cheers to Donovan Mitchell last time. Let's cheers to, ready? College football overs are back.
True.
Overs,
That's a good
bet the over. If you just want to be engaged in the game this Saturday, bet the over. Chatsports.com/bet. Cannonball coming. Cannonball. We got to get better liquor in this office. It's like a frat house when it comes to our pantry. Yeah. I come home and I feel like I just made out with a gingerbread man. That's how much cinnamon's in my mouth right now from that fireball. Bill, this is how I love football. We're taking a shot right now. I look down, greasy flight. First thing I see, Bill Walsh was a genius. We're talking about West Coast offense all the time. Let's go, Josh. Yes. Okay, Josh with another super chat. We'll answer that too. Other Matthew, could you please get me another beer, please? Thank you, buddy. Okay, Josh, Brissett's numbers through first half of the season. Let's say the average for a quarterback in 16 games, or 17 now, is I think 3,500 yards. Are you muted?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe
4,000 is pretty good.
I mean, yeah, that's a
So
good
I think
year.
3,500 is the average.
All right, yeah,
3,200. So I'll go like 11 games, 1,300 yards.
You think he's going to average only like 100 yards a game then?
Oh, I didn't think about that. Never mind. Bump those numbers up. 2,000 yards.
Okay, so
Bad math for a moment there.
slightly under 200 yards a game. Because, I mean, the Browns will be running the ball a good amount.
I'll go 2,000 yards, and I'll say 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
I
He's
could see
very
that.
conservative with the football.
He'll be a
He'll
game
hold
manager.
on to it.
Yeah, he'll be a game manager.
Cheers to you, Josh.
Yeah, no, he'll definitely be a game
Buffalo
manager.
Brownie, we missed you, dude. You're here finally. About time. Here we go. Welcome, brother. Woof, woof. Okay. So, what are your guys? I mean, I guess it's hard to predict stats for 11 games. That's a weird number to put together. in
What
your
about
head.
week one?
Week one? Let's simplify it a little bit here.
Week one, Panthers defense isn't.
I'll say this: the Panthers' defense is not as bad as you might just think.
Oh,
because
no,
the
yeah.
Panthers are the Panthers. You know what I mean?
They got some talent on that side of the ball, definitely. With that one, like Jeremy Chin, I remember.
Jeremy
he was
Chin,
playing,
the safety,
He had
is a freak. Out of Southern Illinois.
He had back-to-back plays with a touchdown versus the
Yes.
Vikings. He had a pick six, and then the next play he had a scoop and score. Literally,
Okay.
it was off.
Brian Burns was the guy. I was about to say
Brian
Artie
Burns is
Burns,
good,
but that's just a
yeah.
random corner. Brian Burns and
They've always
who's-
had a good front seven.
Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Very good edge rushers right there. Jeremy Chin, Xavier Woods, C.J. Henderson, and they get J.C. Horn back.
True.
Their secondary is actually really good. So for Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to go with like 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and you get 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 from Chubb, 1 from Kareem Hunt. That's 3 scores right there. A Cade York field goal. It's 24-17 Browns win. How does that sound to everyone?
I could see that. I mean, if that happens, I'm not going to be shocked.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Nick Chubb, 8-yard touchdown run. Kareem Hunt takes it from the 15 on an outside zone read.
I could see the Browns running for 250 yards in week 1.
Yeah, I love having useful football knowledge. Scorpion, one of my favorite things to do is just name football players like all guys do. You know what I mean? That's just guys being dudes right there. Josh, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and a rushing touchdown to the right.
That would be a hell of a game.
That'd be a great debut for Jacoby Brissett in brown and orange. All right, we got to reset the shot clock here. Reset the shot clock. Show goes on. 2 minutes now. We get a super chat in the next 2 minutes and like 10 seconds because YouTube has a stupid buffer. We'll keep the party going. If not, Vikings Now is going to hop in here and talk about their precious practice squad of all 16 household names calling Minneapolis home this season.
Yeah, it's going to be electric.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Paul, 92 people in the chat, and Paul's doing my job for me right now.
Great point, Paul.
If you haven't liked the video yet, what are you doing? Click that thumbs up icon here. I'm 18 going on 10. I love that score. It's a great saying right there. This Matthew Hancock guy is my new best friend. Matthew Hancock, if you don't follow me on Twitter, can you please do so? And like DM me, or I can DM you so I can thank you a little bit more formally than just cheersing Bud Lights across from the pond. But let's keep the Vikings guys out. You know what this means?
Yeah.
Okay, Patrick and I are going to play an NFL game here. This is what we did last time.
I'm excited.
A little bit of a twist, though. I want you guys to partake in this. An NFL team from both conferences. One that made the playoffs last year, that's going to miss the playoffs this year. And a playoff team a team that didn't make the playoffs last year that's going to make the playoffs this year.
Got it.
So someone falling out and someone falling in from the NFC and the AFC. Once we wrap up this dialogue, like this is the timer, basically.
Yeah, this is the shot clock.
This is the shot clock timer here.
You want to go first, or do you want me to go first? We'll go conference. I'll go AFC, you go AFC, I'll go NFC.
Yes, I like that idea.
All right, AFC.
AFC, team that made it last year, missing it this year. Don't steal mine. I can't wait to say it.
Raiders. I think
That's
the Raiders,
a good one, yeah.
I think the Raiders, I think it's a little shocker because, they get Devonta Adams, get Chandler Jones, who's the most overrated edge in the league, in my opinion. But I just think that division's too tough. And then my other answer, team that missed it, the Chargers.
Say that for later.
No, I'm giving both AFC.
You're
giving both AFC right now. Yes,
okay, I follow.
I'm going to go.
You're driving the ship now.
I'm going to go the Chargers. I'm going to go the Chargers are going to make it.
Yeah, okay.
Raiders are out. I already know who you're going to say.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to go below 500.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Cincy. I thought you were going to say Cincy's going to miss it.
I will put more money on the Steelers missing it.
Yes.
The Steelers making the playoffs last year is the most Mike Tomlin, Ben Roethlisberger thing ever. They were not a good team. For just somehow, I hated that. I really did hate it. So the Steelers miss that team that made it last year. For my make, you went Chargers.
Yeah, I'll go Chargers. Can't take the Chargers.
I was going to say Browns would be. I'll rule them out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I do believe the Browns will make the playoffs this year. I do believe this. The Browns will go 10-7. I can't say if 10 wins will be enough.
But there'll be a scary 7 seed with Deshaun fully.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Because we have seen 10 win teams miss it, and that's out of my control. I will go with the Broncos. Russell Wilson going to miss the playoffs 2 straight years.
It's not going to happen.
Seems tough to wrap your head around. So that's our AFC right there. Let's do NFC. Remember, once we wrap up our quick football chat, we're signing off unless we get another super chat. Here comes producer Jeremy to chase me out right now.
Here we go, Steve.
No, it's our Steelers. I fucking hate the Steelers. Okay. NFC. Everyone spam F Pitt or F Jeremy in the comments right now. Jeremy runs our Steelers channel here at Chat Sports. Flip him off like this right there.
I was gonna say, I was gonna do shots for any $10 super chat, but I don't think.
No, we can do that.
I don't think Browns fans can afford it. So
Door's over there.
That's what I was gonna do, but
sorry, because everyone knows that Pittsburgh is the rock bed of the financial institutions of America.
That's all I'm saying.
Matthew, that's what I'm talking about. Well, okay, how about this? Let's we'll do some quick shots here. This is for Matthew's super chat because the guy has just been a legend. Rob with a super chat. Okay, quick sidebar. Other Matthew, please. Could you go to get my laptop charger, please? This is about to die. I've got a dinosaur of a computer 30 minutes away from the charger. It's dunzos.
You know, I'll take this one. Steelers winning the division this year.
F Pitt.
Let's go.
F Pitt.
Here we go, Steelers.
No, you don't get to come on the Browns channel and do that. There's no Here We Go Steelers on the Browns channel.
Love it.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Oh.
Kind of pull. Darnell.
Darnell.
We're at 60.
60 burger.
Can we get 9 more?
Now here's Chase. Do you want to give the Chase Senior offer?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thanks, Matthew.
Hey, for my boy here, $50 super chat. I'll shotgun a beer and it'll be under 3 seconds. That's what I want to do for my guy right here. All right? $50 super chat, shotgun a beer in less than 3.
They can't even afford a $10 shot for me. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna.
Jeremy thinks he's this Netflix comedian.
Are they gonna be able to put this $10 on layaway? I don't know how this is gonna work for the
All
Browns.
right. Well, since Jeremy's talking about 10, I'll knock it down to 40.
There we
All
go.
right?
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have to take out a loan? I don't know how these Browns fans are gonna be able to do it.
This is what I hate about the Steeler fan base is that they're so international because everyone moved out of Pittsburgh. If you live for Pittsburgh, this is not directed towards you, but yeah, I hate it.
I'm just saying, Browns are gonna Brown.
Darnell, thanks so much for the super chat. By the way, you're not forgotten here. I'm really mad at Jeremy on screen right now, just coming on here with his negativity.
I'm just saying, you know, Steelers were the creme de la creme.
No, creme de la creme.
Browns crap de la crap.
Well, I should have locked the door.
I'll come back in for a $10 super chat to take shots, but I don't think they're gonna be able to do it, Petey.
Never forget when Mike Tomlin stuck his knee out on that punt return for the Jets game.
Oh, that's
just ruined that guy's career.
Oh wow, you probably heard that in the media.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little bit off my rocker right now, thanks to a lot of the shots and super chats. Yeah. Okay. You can watch Steelers games on CNN Plus this year. Yeah, that's where you can watch Steelers games. How's that going to work out for you guys? Okay. Here we go. NFC now. Let's put Matthew's pick on there because that's what his super chat was about. He wanted to partake, and I appreciated that from him. Matthew, your face is getting pretty red. I know. I'm getting the glow right now. Okay. My NFC picks. So Matthew, not me. I'm not talking in third person. This Matthew, I think he got the Hard Knocks drunk. He got the Hard Knocks high. He watched Hard Knocks and he went, "This team has to go."
Fun fact: most amount of money put on an over/under either way in Vegas is on the over on the Lions win.
Because of That's a very good fun fact.
I saw that yesterday.
This is the Hard Knocks effect.
And plus with Dan, how could you not get hyped up about him? I
Yeah.
mean, but they are. I agree. I mean, I'm a Vikings fan, obviously, so I know the Lions pretty well.
Yeah.
They have a pretty damn good roster, especially in the trenches.
Once Jameson Williams will be that if they go 2-2 to start the year, and Jameson Williams returns after 4 games, and looks like the first-round pick, Jared Goff might have a little bit of time in Detroit.
Well, Goff made I hate that Goff. Yes, he's not top 15. He's probably in the 15 to 20 range, but the dude still made a Super Bowl. I mean, that's
okay. So
pretty damn tough to
NFC
do.
team, one that missed the playoffs last year that makes it, and one that made it last year that misses.
Okay.
I got to go through my NFC brain right now.
So
I'm going to go – you go first.
I'm going to go the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, no bias. Team that missed it last year that makes it.
The Minnesota Vikings are going to make it. Offensive head coach Kevin O'Connell coming in the building.
I've got my miss. Okay.
And then a team that misses. Let me run through it.
I got my miss. I'm trying to think of my make. I'm not going.
It has to be the Cowboys.
That was my miss, dang it.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, I think the Eagles win the division.
Because I was thinking,
and the Cowboys maybe get a wild card spot.
Rams will be there. Cardinals will be there, I think. Maybe.
I think the Rams, they peaked last year.
I don't know.
I think the Rams are going to go for like this LA party of we won our Super Bowl, F them picks, we're bouncing out.
But
Matthew Hancock, let's go.
Having Wagner. The bias is strong with this one.
That's my man right there.
Come on, Matthew.
Okay, my NFC picks really quickly here. Team that made it last year that missed it. I'm going to go the Rams and the Cardinals and the Niners all made it last year.
Yes.
I think the Niners in Trey Lance's rookie year miss it.
Okay, that's not a bad
I'm
take,
not very high on Trey Lance. And I don't think the Niners are either. Or else they would have cut Jimmy Garoppolo and not restructured his deal. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
If they had cut Jimmy G, it would have been like a $1.5 million dead cap hit. There is an ounce of them that is like, we might not want to go fully in bed with Trey Lance.
What if Jimmy G starts 12 games?
Wait. Jimmy G starts 12 games?
Yeah, what if Trey Lance struggles?
If Jimmy G plays a good chunk of the year, I think they'll make it.
Yeah.
And so I'll go with the Niners, and then for a team that made it, you went with the Cowboys. I'll go a different direction. Although the Cowboys I like, but I do feel like at their worst this year, 9-8.
You got to go with a team that's going to make it now. Who missed it?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
All right, team that made it, missed it now that's going to make it. So in the NFC South,
ain't nobody coming out of there.
Not
besides
the Bucs don't count. The Falcons aren't. I don't think the Panthers will. Saints
They've
are
had
interesting with healthy Jameis. They were like 5-2 when Jameis got hurt.
Yeah, they've had a tough stretch
and they
the last
put
couple
together
days.
a good roster. So I'm going to pencil in the Saints. NFC East, I only think there's two teams. Maybe the Cowboys, the Eagles, yes. NFC West, no. We went through NFC. No. I go with the Saints.
Saints?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been a tough past couple days. But.
Yeah, I go with the Saints here. All right, everyone. Unless we get another super chat, we're going to have to wrap up shop. And Seatman is going to take over the studio for his Vikings channel. Matthew Hancock has just been an MVP. Doesn't do it justice, right?
We were Finals MVP, Super Bowl MVP.
We put his jersey in the rafters for this show.
This is a Hall of Fame.
That's for sure. It's a Hall of Fame performance from Hancock. No doubt about it. Okay. So, another super chat, or else we're going to wrap up shop. Really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. Thank you so much for joining the show. So, Seatman, we ready to wrap it up here?
We're ready.
All right, we'll send you guys on your way. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Enjoy some college football, too. Take the Vols, minus 35.5. They play Ball State and their backup QB. It must hit. And I like West Virginia or the over. Those are my two Thursday picks right there. Appreciate all of you guys for joining today's show. We will wrap it up, and we will see you guys later with more Cleveland Browns coverage. Patrick, we all good on the 1s and 2s? All right.